we're looking at 4 effective classroom management strategies for new teachers. Hey there, I'm Charlotte with Colorful Teaching for You. Thank you so much for joining me. And today we're going to look at the fact that disruptive behavior doesn't always look as horrendous as it's showed on TV, but it can get a little bit too much for some teachers. The reason for this is because when we go to teacher school, they actually talk about classroom management skills, but not in a very practical way, not in a hands-on way. So we don't always know how to teach or how to manage our class when we get a new class for ourselves. So it can be really stressful when you have kids who are talking over you or who are trying to dictate how your class should be because of poor management skills. However, the good news is that classroom management skills develop over time. I remember when I first started, I was terrible. I didn't know what I was doing, and honestly I did teach like a classroom of 64 students at first, but I went from grade 7 down to grade 2, and that's very different. So it did develop for me over time, and I learned along the way. So the strategies I'm going to talk about today, I'd like you to just choose one of them, master it, feel confident, and then move on to the next so that you don't feel like you're overwhelmed and have too much to do, okay? So let's get started with the first step, or at least one that I like. The first one is rule making and rule breaking. So here we want to discuss with our students, not just create the rules, but discuss with our students what does expected behavior look like, and what kind of rules can we have in our class to ensure that we have expected behavior. And then we discuss what does unexpected behavior look like, and what are consequences that might take place if we go against these rules, specifically after being reminded a few times. Now, the consequences don't have to be overly punitive in nature. They could easily be just natural consequences, and that's okay as well. But it's important to discuss this so students know where we're coming from. They also are able to take ownership and accountability of these rules because now it's something that they've created together. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2 is capture their attention. So when kids are talking, or when you're moving from one task to the next, or kids are off task and you want to get their attention, it can be kind of daunting. You don't want to scream at them because eventually you're going to lose your voice. So I've got a few attention getters that you can use. Now you do have to click the link associated with this video, the full episode, because it's got a whole bunch of examples that you can go through. Don't do all of them. Choose a couple, work on it with your students. So let's start with one, for example. Work on it with your students, see which one resonates with you and your class, and then go with that. Then you can always add more to your repertoire as you progress through the year or the years. Okay? Number 3, love your students. So what I mean by this is, instead of constantly correcting negative or unexpected behavior, we can instead praise the positive behavior there. So if someone is doing something really good, like staying on task and doing their work, we overly praise them. Wow, you did such an amazing job with this, and they feel good about themselves. The students who are off task, they'll know that you're not going to waste your time and energy into focusing on that negative behavior, because if they're looking for negative attention, if they're looking for attention, they'll do anything they can get. They'll do anything to get that attention, even if it's negative, right? So we want to reinforce positive behavior, and as soon as you'll see in time that they'll start to switch their behavior to something more positive. It will take time, but as you see the effort taking place, even if it's just so small, praise the heck out of them, because that will propel them to really make that progress for you. Okay? Number 4 is create the space. So here, depending on the class that you have, you might have special needs students, you might have kids with temper issues, with trauma, with all of these different things. So create a space where they can go and calm themselves down, get themselves together, and then come back. Now in the beginning you're going to need to teach them how to use that space, but over time the goal is for them to be able to do this independently. Okay, to go to the space independently. Now I've got a free resource that's going to help you get yourself started, and yeah, it's actually going to help you get yourself started. It gives you an actionable, like every single step is laid out for you in a minimalistic way so that you don't have to overspend, especially if you're a new teacher. It's just too much to spend. It's probably just items that you have around your area or things that can be donated to you, okay? Because they're really small. If you have any questions though, I would be happy to answer them for you just so that we can get you going with that space, okay? Now, let's recap really quickly what we talked about. We looked at the importance of actually working on classroom management skills right away, just one small thing at a time, not all of them. And we looked at 4 different ways that you can do that. Number 1 is rule making and rule breaking. We've looked at capture their attention, which you do need to go to the link there. We've looked at love your students, and we've also looked at create the space. Again, for create the space, you have to go to the link associated with this video, so it's a full episode, and there's a link for the free resource there as well. All right, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you in a little while. In the meantime, remember to create, experience, and teach from the heart. Take care. Bye.